Welcome in to Rave Church Volume 11. We are here to inspire you today with some encouragement set to the soundtrack of my favorite dance music. So welcome in. If you're on YouTube right now, take a second, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get going, family. I am so glad you're here. And I want to acknowledge as this song begins, the mic made it all of 15 seconds in the stand. But I just had to pick it up. I'm on fire and ready to record today. And if you're not on YouTube, you might be missing this, but we are not only on video today. I feel like there's a really important, really exciting development. Bryan is in frame with me, family. If you're happy that Bryan is here and on camera today, I want you to drop a 1 in the comments, because I know that many of you out there didn't actually believe Bryan was in the room with me, but he's here, and we slid the DJ platform a little ways over. So shout out Bryan Neville, who co-creates this with me every single time. Send him some love and gratitude in the comments, family. We are getting going and starting off today from a frequency of celebration. You've heard me say it before, but the more we celebrate, the more reasons that we are given to celebrate. I want every single person right now to drop one thing that you are grateful for in the comments. One thing. Big or small, there is no order of difficulty in miracles. And every blessing is worth celebrating. Every blessing is worth being grateful for. But I want you to drop one thing that you are grateful for and celebrating today. You can also take a moment if you want to let me know where in the world you are tuning in from. Drop a city for us in the comments as we get started. But I am so glad that you are here at the time of this recording. It is our first Rave Church of a brand new year. There's a party going on right here, family. I need every single person to hit the share button. I will let you choose where and how you want to share it on your favorite platform of choice, but I need every single person to hit the share button and share the love, share the magic, share the music of Rave Church with somebody somewhere in your world. You know, Bryan walked in today and he walked through what we call the celebration hallway or the gratitude hallway. I know many of you have seen it on my story. And he said, I feel like there's more Post-it notes up here than there were last time. And I said, you better believe there are. Because we always are adding to it. Always more blessings. Always more to celebrate. I don't know if you know this or not, but this song was actually written about the celebration of God over humanity. I want you to hear it through that lens. I want you to hear it perhaps in a new way as we get started today on the virtual dance floor. What if God is celebrating that you exist? What if God is celebrating who you are? What if God is celebrating you being part of the family? I want you to receive that. Breathe that in, family. Everyone around the world. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your season. This is your mix. This is your Rave Church, and I am so grateful you are here. It wouldn't be the same without you here. It's a global celebration, and it's all made better because you are here and a part of it. I want to know where you're listening today. If you are at the gym, doing some cardio maybe, or getting in a lift with some Rave Church as a soundtrack, I want you to drop a 2 in the comments. Anybody listening at the gym, drop a 2. If you are on a walk, I want you to drop a 3. I know some of you like to put some headphones in and go out for a walk, particularly if you live somewhere that is warm and moderate right now while you happen to be listening. If you're on a walk, give me a 3. And I know I could go on endlessly, but I'll leave it with this. If you're in the car or on a flight, give me a 4. I want to know where you're listening from today. In the gym, give me a 2. On a walk, give me a 3. On a drive or on a flight, give me a 4. You cut me up here. The deepest truth of the universe is absolute love. I know that might feel random. It wasn't in my notes, but as this song that Bryan and I both love plays, I just felt led to tell you for a moment, the deepest truth at the core of the universe is unconditional love. Some people are scared of the truth. Some people are scared of what they're going to discover. Some people are scared because they believe in this idea of too good to be true. But I'm here to tell you the deepest truth is love. And I am feeling the love from all of you, particularly from all of my partners that support this work. I am feeling your love. And I just want to shout out today, this community has been incredible lately over on our Discord. And partners, thank you for being you. Thank you for bringing your love and your joy and your infectious energy over there. It's been amazing. If you want more information about partnership, it's all online, lovegrovepartners.com. But we have a little space that we call the Partners Prospering Portal. You know I believe in language. I believe in the power of a name. And it's a great space where we prosper together. And I love the energy in it. So thank you, partners, and shout out to you. You know, I'm here today, really, I believe, on assignment with a message of hope. And there's a lot in my brain, there's a lot on my heart, there's a lot in my notes, but I guess I want to begin for a moment by just talking about how you are the only one who ultimately gets to set the narrative for your life. It is vital that you choose the narrative for your life. It is crucial that you don't just allow the inner narrative of your world to be set by somebody else. I've heard it said that if you don't choose your own I ams, you will forever be victim to somebody else's you ares. Somebody type that one out in the comments. If you don't choose consciously and deliberately your own I ams, you will forever be at the mercy of somebody else's you ares. But not you, family, not here, not today, not now, not ever. You're not gonna live at the mercy of somebody else's narrative. You're not gonna let somebody else choose the story for your life. This is the year, this is the season, this is the time that you choose the I ams. And may I make a recommendation from my personal belief system and from a spiritual perspective? Can I suggest to you that you want to align your identity, your beliefs, your I ams with the way God sees you? That is the deepest truth and the best truth of them all. But you have to choose the narrative. Only you can set the right narrative for yourself. At the time of this recording, LA is resiliently coming out of a wild month of fires. And I want to dedicate this mix today to every single family that was impacted, to every single person that experienced loss, to every single person and every single family and every single community that is still going through it in the aftermath. Our hearts are with you. Our love is with you. Our prayers are with you. Our dollars are with you. Our generosity continues to be with you. But I have to share, if I can, a little story with you, because this past weekend, family, we finally had rain. And I can't overstate to you what a massive thing this was, that after weeks of intense winds and conditions and dangerous situations that allowed the fires to burn, we finally had rain. It was such a big deal. In fact, Brian, I know you were happy about it because you were just talking to me about the air quality today and how good it felt outside. It was such a big deal that we got rain, and I have to share this story with you, family, because we got rain Saturday night into Sunday. And I remember Sunday morning, I checked the news. And maybe I should have known better. But I checked the news hoping to see something of a celebration, of an acknowledgement, something about how this rain had been such a gift, had been exactly what we needed, had made such a tremendous difference, and it really did with the fires. And so here I am Sunday morning, I'm checking the news, and it was the strangest thing. They weren't talking about the fires. There was no mention of the rain. There was no mention of how much the rain had been a blessing. There was no mention of how we were in the best position that we had been in weeks, and it was looking so positive, and it had been a tremendous improvement. It wasn't any of that. I know it sounds silly, but I checked the news, hoping to see a reflection of good news back to me. But I guess maybe I shouldn't have been surprised. They had already moved on. And there was a story about a food outbreak of something somewhere, and there was a story about a vehicle recall somewhere, and there was a story about somebody's accident somewhere, and And again, I know it sounds silly. I feel silly admitting it. Maybe I shouldn't have been shocked. But in the aftermath of the rain, I checked the news only to find out they didn't have any good news for me. And they had just moved on. They weren't even talking about the fires. They just moved on to a new set of bad news. And I get it, okay? No shade, no hate, no judgment to any media friends or journalist friends who are listening to Rave Church right now. But while I understand the industry and I understand how it works and I understand that bad news sells and delivers clicks and engagement far more than good news, I have to tell you, family, it also broke my heart because for so long, this city prayed for rain. This city prayed for improvement. This city prayed to finally have some good news. And it broke my heart that we got the rain and we reached that point. And it was like we didn't even have a moment for the good news. We just moved on to some different bad news, a different flavor of bad news, a different version of bad news, a different category of bad news. And I'm taking my time sharing all of this as I feel led to today because I feel like I need to let you know right now, nobody is going to celebrate for you. Nobody is going to choose the right narrative for your life and just hand it to you. Nobody is going to choose to broadcast good news into your world as a default. You're going to have to do that. Only you can do that. And so I wanted to tell somebody today, if you're waiting for some good news, realize you're going to have to mine some for yourself. You're going to have to create some for yourself. You're going to have to locate some for yourself. You can't wait on somebody or something out there to give you good news. You can't wait for the media to decide that we want to hear something good. You can't wait for the circumstances to change. You can't wait for there to be no reasons to be afraid to let yourself celebrate. Let the light in right now, family. Choose the perspective you want to have. Choose a mindset that supports you. Choose the good news right here, right now. It's never going to be the default. It's never going to be the norm out there. But we get to choose. We get to decide that this is a community of celebration, a community of gratitude, a community full of good news. What if good news is not an event, but a perspective? What if good news is not an event, but a perspective? And as we record and we move into Rave Church Volume 11 and a new calendar year of Rave Church at the time of this recording, family, I gotta tell you, I've been reflecting a lot recently about the power of consistency. You might have heard me say in a recent teaching that if you want to change your life this year, you might want to look at who you are consistently. You might want to look at the things you do consistently. You might want to look at how you show up for your life and in the world consistently. Because the fastest way to change your life is often to change what you do consistently. I feel like that's really what's behind the cliche saying that you are what you eat, which we all know is true in some ways, even literally, and then not fully true in other ways, right? But where does that idea come from? You are what you eat is a reflection of a deeper truth, that you are what you do consistently. You are the choices you make consistently. You are the inputs you choose consistently. I want to suggest to you that it's probably not going to be what you do impulsively that changes your life this year. It's probably going to be what you do consistently that changes your life. I know the big moments, the moments we exit dramatically, the moments we start something new, the moments we make a bold decision, the moments we start over. Sometimes those moments get all the hype and all the love and all the fanfare. But it's probably not going to be something you do just in a one-time moment that radically changes your life this year. If your life is going to change, it's probably going to be in what you did consistently. I've heard it said before that the secret to success that most people overlook is hidden in plain sight in their daily routine. Are you missing something in the category of consistency? Are you missing a hidden secret to success that lies in what you do over and over and over again? You know, I really understand the power of consistency. And I might have taught it explicitly and talked about it more than the average human being. And yet that doesn't always make it easier for me to actually be consistent. Did you know you can even know about the power of consistency and still struggle to be consistent? You can like the idea of consistency and not show up consistently, but I'm here to encourage you today. I'm here to motivate you today. I'm here to give you a momentum and an energy in community that you can tap into that helps you be consistent in this year and this season of your life. I'll be honest, Brian, just between you and me and everybody else listening, I did not want to go to the gym and lift heavy things today. No part of me wanted to do that. And my brain had excuses, my brain had reasons, my brain had all kinds of good stories about why, you know, you're recording Rave Church tonight, and it's been a busy day. And I mean, of all things, family, I was gonna use Rave Church as my brain's excuse to not be consistent. But I thought, you know, what I do today is not going to make or break me. But I can't fall for this trap because I know better, and I know that what I do consistently will in fact change my whole life. So no, today may not feel like a difference maker either way, but my consistency is the ultimate difference maker. And I feel so good, family, to be able to tell you that I showed up. Because doesn't it feel good when you show up for yourself? And doesn't it feel good when you show up for your purpose? And doesn't it feel good when you show up for that thing you told yourself you were gonna do? This song that's playing right now says there's something in the way, something in the way. And I just want to speak for somebody. The thing that's been in the way for somebody listening right now is just your inconsistency. That's it. You've never given yourself a chance to see what you're truly capable of, to fully explore your potential, because it's just consistency. But I decree and declare this is the year where you find out what you have been capable of, all along. What's been waiting for you all along on the other side of your consistency. Brian and I were just talking about today how far we've come doing Rave Church from volume 1 to volume 11. And that's not even a big number, family. But it's just consistency. You know, similarly to how I did the workout today and nothing felt life-changing, nothing felt dramatic, nothing felt magical, but I did it. I also did my daily giving today, and I will tell you the same thing there. Nothing magical, nothing extreme, nothing spooky or weird or mystical happened. But see, every time I put a seed into the ground, my harvest gets bigger. And every time I do something for my future self, my future gets brighter. Oh, I feel that so strongly today. Every time you do something for your future self, your future gets brighter. And I felt like I had to show you, family. I have a basket underneath the table in my living room. And it has all of these little pieces of paper on it, where as I've done my daily giving over and over and over again, I have written down, and every single time I either write it down or I type it out, one way or the other. But as I do my daily giving, my daily sowing over and over and over again, every single time I give my seed an assignment and I set an intention and I deliberately set something into motion. And all of these paper ones, they get folded up and they get put in that basket that I'm running out of room, to be honest with you. That's honestly why I've had to start typing them out more is because it's overflowing and I don't have a lot more room in there. But as I was getting ready for Rave Church today, I felt like I needed to reference that because there's something happening there. It didn't fill up overnight. It didn't even fill up in 12 months, but there's something happening there through consistency. And when I walk through that celebration hallway and I see miracle after miracle, blessing after blessing, breakthrough after breakthrough on the walls, there's something there. And it didn't happen in an instant and it didn't happen overnight, but it did happen with consistency. And it did happen on a journey with God. And I'm here to tell you, family, if you go on a journey with God this year, it will be the best year of your life and it will take you places you never dreamed. We can go home now. End of mix. I'm kidding. It's a good mix overall. I'm not really ready to go home. But I'm so passionate today about consistency, family. There's an old scripture that uses the phrase, Brian, you can tell me if this sounds familiar. It says, in season and out of season. I want you to give me a 6 in the comments if you recognize that churchy phrase. If we were all together, I would say, touch your neighbor and say, in season and out of season, somebody. In season and out of season. But think about how many things we want to be seasonal. We watch football during the football season, and we get sad when the season of our favorite show comes to an end, and there's clothes that we only wear in a certain season and music that we have designated for a certain season. And man, the Pinterest moms love themselves a season. The church people love a season. The spiritual people love a season. The astrology people love a season. But I felt led to speak to for a moment today the truth of there are some things we are called to, and they're not seasonal. There are some things we're called to in season and out of season. You know, another rendition of that same text said it this way: whether the opportunity appears to be favorable or unfavorable, bear with me, family, as I check the tech. It's a good song playing. You'll be all right. in season or out of season, when the tech is cooperating and when it isn't. How about that for an application? And as this other translation said, whether the opportunity appears to be favorable or unfavorable. Maybe this is the year that you move from seasonal to consistent. In season or out of season, whether it seems to be favorable or unfavorable conditions. Maybe you show up the same way, either way. Maybe you are the light of the world still, either way. And speaking of conditions, I heard it said recently that this is perhaps the best time in the history of civilization to be alive if you are a high agency person. With all the choice you have available, with all the technology you have available, with all the connection opportunities to anyone worldwide you have available. I've heard it said recently, this is perhaps one of the best times in human history to be alive if you are a high agency person. Now, I like that concept and I agree with it in many ways, but if I can just share a moment of vision, family, I don't just want us to be a high agency community. And by the way, I don't know if you're familiar with that term or not, but to me, high agency really just means people that are very connected to their power of decision always. That they know they get to choose, even in ways that are unconventional or outside the box. That they are willing to call the shots for themselves, even in ways that most of society would not. That's high agency. And I do want us to be a high agency community. But I also want us to be a high trust and a high grace community. And to me, that is the sweet spot where I love to live my life. High agency, yes, but it's not all on my shoulders. I don't carry every burden. It's not on me to make it all happen. High agency, yes, but also high trust and also high grace. I'm not all by myself in this thing. It's me and God on an adventure of faith together. I recently taught in my first teaching of the year the principle that none of these things move me. Would you give me a 7 in the comments if you were with me and you listened to that teaching already this year? Give me a 7. Because in that teaching, I invited you, family, into this state of awareness that no matter what the circumstances look like, no matter what's going on around you, no matter what you face at any point this year, and I know many of us have already faced things in January that may not have been our preference. I know many of us might have faced things in January that we did not anticipate or did not see coming or just did not want, and yet I still want to invite you into this place, into this truth, into this frequency. None of these things move me. What if that was a resting place for you in consciousness all year? What if that was something you could come back to again and again? What if that was a default place that your soul was able to land no matter what you encountered in your life? None of these things move me. And see, as I shared with you in that teaching, I believe when we live in a place of none of these things move me, we suddenly are able to move every mountain. We suddenly notice that Mountains are moving for us in the invisible and visible realm where we need it the most. We suddenly see that everything is rearranging for our highest and best. When none of these things move you, family, you can move any mountain. When none of these things move you, you become the person for whom anything is possible with mountain-moving faith. When none of these things move you, everything moves automatically for you and around you. Give me an 8 in the comments if you are stepping into this year a none of these things move me position in consciousness. None of these things move me. I'm connected to wholeness no matter what. I'm connected to God no matter what. I'm connected to my peace and joy no matter what. None of these things move me. But I have the power to move mountains. My faith is moving mountains right now. Mountains are moving for me in the invisible realm right now. None of these things move me, so everything automatically rearranges for me.
Några ser mer än andra.
You know, I want to leave you in this mix today, and that's not a teaser that it's almost over. It's not. But my heart and my intention for this mix today is that you would leave this space filled with hope and inspiration and encouragement. But in the spirit of that, there's something I felt called to speak to, because from my experience, and for context, those of you that are new to me, that's 10 years of coaching, 10 years of business, 10 years of entrepreneurship and helping people in the realm of personal development. From my experience, sometimes when we're trying to encourage and uplift and inspire people, there will be people who have a response that, by the way, I think is a very understandable and human response that says, well, I don't want to fake it. Like, what if it doesn't seem genuine for me to feel that way or have that perspective in this moment? And people will often say some version, some variation of, I don't want to fake it and I don't want to force it. And would you give me a 9 in the comments if you've ever been there? Would you give me a 9 in the comments if you relate to that perhaps in the world of coaching, in the world of personal development, in the world of spirituality, there's been a moment where you have felt like, I hear what you're inviting me into, but I don't know if that's genuine. I don't know if that's where I'm at right now. And I don't want to force it. I don't want to fake it. Give me a 9 in the comments if you relate to that, family. And if you do relate to that, I'm so glad you're here. And there's something I want to speak to here that I actually believe has the power to change the way that you approach this for the rest of your life. See, like I said, I think it's normal, I think it's human, I think it's relatable to feel like I want to be genuine, right? I don't want to fake it, I don't want to force it. And yet, I learned a long time ago, the good Just like we were talking about moments ago with the good news, but it applies to so many areas. The good doesn't always come naturally. The expansion isn't always our default, right? Not everybody out there is just automatically choosing healing, okay? I think we're all aware of that. And so I learned a long time ago, sometimes you have to interrupt a cycle and interrupt the negativity or what you don't want. Sometimes you have to interrupt a pattern and choose something good and choose something new. And I don't know who this is for. Give me a 10 if this is for you and resonating with you specifically, but I feel like somebody today needed to hear it's not being fake for you to choose the good. And you know what? You might need to force it. You might need to interrupt a pattern if that's what it takes. But I came to tell somebody today, sometimes we have to force the good, because if we don't force it, if we don't choose it deliberately and consciously, we're never gonna get there. And I came to tell somebody today, sometimes faith is a choice, but always a choice worth making. And so if you are the person out there feeling like I don't wanna fake it, I don't want to do something that feels awkward and unnatural, I don't want to force it, maybe this message is for you. Sometimes it's the best thing you can do for yourself to interrupt a pattern. Sometimes it's the best thing you can do for yourself to change up the momentum and the way the energy's moving. Sometimes you have to force the good, and sometimes faith is a choice. I know there's people listening right now, and perhaps you relate to what I just shared moments ago a little too much. Because somehow, somewhere, some way, you got stuck in a rut you never intended to be in. And maybe the good does feel out of reach. Maybe the good does feel too good to be true. Maybe the good does feel like you're never gonna get back there again. And if that's you, I believe you're not here by accident. You're not hearing this at random or by coincidence. I believe that there is a message here for you. That Bryan and I are here recording so that this message can get to you right on time, right where you need it, right at the moment you need it the most. Somebody listening needs to hear the message from God today. I did not send the attack. I don't know what you're up against. I don't know what you're in the middle of. I don't know what you're facing. You will know who you are. You will know if this applies to you. But somebody needs to hear today the message from God saying, I did not send the attack. Perhaps in this moment, somebody needs to hear God saying to you today, I send blessings, not curses. I was just talking with someone the other day about how they find themselves afraid, they find themselves anxious, they find themselves apprehensive about this year, wondering, what if I have to go through something intense? What if that's just the plan? What if it's required? What if I'm meant to or I have to? What if God has, you know all those jokes on social media about, I want to make sure I didn't sign up for the trials and tribulation package this year. I want to speak to that clearly. That family, we've got to stop expecting the trials and tribulations package. We've got to stop having a belief system that is all about the trials and tribulations. Can I get an amen on that? You don't even have to type a number. Just type amen, and I'll know what you mean. Because some of you need to move out of that trials and tribulation narrative. And I just want to reinforce, God is saying to somebody today, I did not send the attack. And please don't misunderstand who I am. And please don't think that I am something other than love. I have every good and perfect gift headed your way this year. I send blessings, not curses. Somebody breathe that in. This song is so good. And I just feel the sacredness and the specialness of this moment that I don't know of another place in the world where somebody is speaking messages in the moment that they feel in their soul with 100% conviction from God to this beautiful, deep house, melodic house music. What a gift to be here with you, family. What a gift. What a beautiful life we have been given, as my friend Armand would say. And I want to remind you of an ancient text that is such good news. I'm always here with good news. This is not a channel where we're going to find some new bad news just to keep you hooked and coming back. And just as soon as one story of bad news resolves itself, we find another. This is not that. And I want you to hear the good news in this ancient text where God says, I want to make it abundantly clear that I never have plans to harm you, but to give you hope and a future. God says, I'm never trying to harm you, and I'm always trying to prosper you. And I know there's people out there who don't like prosperity, who don't believe in prosperity, who don't think they're meant to have prosperity. And all I can say to that is you can argue with God, beloved. You can argue with God. I'm not interested. If you're available and if you're down to prosper, give me a 12 in the comments. And if you don't believe in it, you can argue with God. But God says my plans are not to harm you. My plans are to prosper you. My plans are to give you hope and a future. And I remember one day God started talking to me about you are always meant to have those two things, hope and a future. And so that's what I want you to get reconnected to as you listen to this Rave Church mix today. I want you to leave this mix reconnected to hope and a future. I want to reassure you that when it comes to hope and a future, maybe you don't have to see everything. Maybe you don't have to have logic behind the hope. Maybe you don't have to know how it's all gonna happen or work out or be resolved. Maybe you don't have to see even most of the pieces of your future. But what I do believe with all my heart, and what I believe is gonna happen for somebody even as you listen right now, is God will give you a glimpse. Whatever you need to reconnect to hope, whatever you need to plug back into vision, whatever you need to believe again in your future, I believe with all my heart, God will give you what you need. God will give you a glimpse. Something to give you hope. Something to connect you to your future. Would you breathe it in and receive it right now? I'm here today to help you reconnect to the knowing that God wants to prosper you always, always, always. I'm here today to help you reconnect to hope, to reconnect to your future. There's another text I felt led to read today, and it says, and listen to these words because I claim them. I am sent to announce a new season of grace. I claim that. I speak that with conviction. I decree and declare that over you and over our community partners and over this mix today. I am here to announce a new season of grace. It says to strengthen those who have been crushed by despair. I'm going to say more about that word despair in a moment, but if you are that person who has felt stuck, who has felt trapped, who has felt crushed by despair, I want you to know I'm here on assignment for you today. If there's any area of your life that you felt stuck in despair, this is for you. We're getting you out of despair today, family. Reconnected to hope and a future. Reconnected to hope and a future. And this text tells us this is what's coming. This is what is awaiting you in this new season. A beautiful bouquet where there have been ashes. Bliss where there have only been tears. Joy where there has been heaviness. Would you breathe that in and receive that now? Somebody is being strengthened right now as they listen. Somebody is walking out of despair right now as they listen. And I'm here to tell you, this is what you're moving into. Beauty instead of ashes. Bliss instead of tears, joy instead of heaviness. Give me a 13 in the comments if you receive that, family. And I love that it's the number 13. As some people call it the unlucky, and as some people call it the lucky number 13. Because we're talking about a reinvention, a reframing, a new story. You can change the way you see anything. You can change the way you see your life. Beauty for ashes, bliss for tears, joy instead of heaviness. The seasons are changing, family. I really love that image. A beautiful bouquet where right now it only looks like ashes. Nothing is too far gone. Nothing is hopeless. There is nothing in your world that is not subject to change. I continue to speak this over you, family. Beauty instead of ashes, bliss instead of tears, joy instead of heaviness. You don't have to know how, you don't have to logically understand it, but would you just let your soul receive the new season right now? We're welcoming in beauty, welcoming in bliss, welcoming in joy. Something new growing, something new springing forth, even as the music plays, family. You know, we've got a couple songs left, and before we get there, I'm gonna take my moment with the keys that Bryan always knows to plan on. And you know, as I was getting ready for this Rave church mix, as I was praying over it and feeling into where we were called to go in this volume 11, I kept being brought back to this theme of hope versus despair. And it's been a wild month and a wild year so far for so many reasons. What's wild is I can think of 3 different people that I'm connected to in different ways all around the world. And if I was to say, has this been kind of an intense month for you? They would all say yes. And for 3 completely different reasons. They would all say yes. And I'll be talking about different things. And I don't know if you feel this. I don't know how many people this applies to, but I know in a number of different circles and communities and for a variety of reasons, I get online these days, Bryan, and I see a lot of people, and it feels to me like they're on this balancing line where I'm fighting for hope. I'm trying to hold on to hope. I want to have hope. But the despair feels really strong sometimes. And sometimes it feels like the despair is inevitably gonna win in the end, so why not just give in? And I don't know if you personally listening right now relate to this. I don't know if you feel this when you get online, but I just feel there's a lot of people out there that are kind of on the fence. And maybe it's freaking you out a little bit listening to this because you're not used to being so on the fence. You're not used to feeling like this. You're not used to not feeling like yourself. You're not used to feeling stuck. You're not used to waking up in the morning and feeling this way about the day. And I just couldn't shake this theme of hope versus despair when it came to this Rave church mix. But I wanted to share this thought with you before we go into our final couple finale songs here, because I recently heard it said, darkness doesn't just want you to make self-destructive choices. On a deeper level, maybe more than anything else, it wants you to lose hope. And ever since I heard that said, I couldn't stop thinking about it, because I think when we often think about like the energy of darkness, the forces of darkness, the powers of darkness, whatever you believe in and whatever language we use, I think most of us would think, you know, darkness would want me to like have an addiction, or darkness would want me to treat somebody really badly, or darkness would want me to go make a stupid choice and blow up my whole life. And I do believe there's all kinds of paths of sabotage out there. There's all kinds of paths of seek and do not find. But I can't get away from this idea that for many of us and for many people listening right now, the thing you're up against is not some crazy sabotaging choice. The biggest battle that you are up against is, are you going to lose hope? And it makes me think of a Cheryl Strayed quote that I read years ago that I've never been able to shake, where this man wrote in and his life was spiraling out of control and nobody knew what was going on, and he knew he was in a dangerous place. He knew he needed to talk to somebody. He knew he needed to reach out and get help, but he was scared to. And so he writes Cheryl Strayed asking for advice. And there's not just fear in his note, there's also a lot of despair and a lot of self-pity and a lot of, I know I should, but I can't. And I know it's bad, but I can barely imagine it could get better. And she writes him back and she says something I've never forgotten. She says, "My dear, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I have to tell you, you don't have the luxury of despair right now." And I have never forgotten those words. They messed me up, Bryan, because they made me realize an uncomfortable truth that for many of us, in the moments where it matters the most, despair is a dangerous indulgence that we really can't afford. And I don't know who this is for, and it's not going to apply to everyone, and that's okay. But if this is speaking to you, please hear this message, and please hear it from 100% love. You can't afford the luxury of despair right now. You can't afford to just play around in that spiral and see how dark it gets. You're too valuable for that. Your life matters too much for that. You're too loved for that. And there's too much at stake here. There's too much on the line. I can't say it better than Cheryl Strayed, but sometimes it's true. You don't have the luxury of despair. It's not going to help you. It's not going to move you forward. It's not going to be the answer. And so I'm here today to do everything in my power, but also to try to connect you to God that I believe is already doing something that only God can do in your life, to help you certifiably cross this line, to leave the despair zone and to undeniably move into the hope zone and plant a flag there. And this is how I wanted to say it today. You don't have to be 100% of the way there on anything. You don't have to be there with 100% certainty. You don't have to be there with 100% faith. You don't have to be there with 100% clarity or vision or belief. And you might say, Stefan, I don't even know if I can get to 100% hope. That's okay. But would you reach for it? Would you do your best to grab onto it and not let go? Would you do what you know to do to move in the direction of hope today? Because you can't afford despair right now. And hope will move you forward faster than you can imagine. And if hope is a battle and hope is a fight and hope feels easier said than done for you in this moment, I want you to know I get it, and I have been there, and I have had seasons where it was all I could do to turn on something that I knew was inspiring and encouraging and good stuff for my soul, but I didn't want to. And I've had moments where I sat on a couch angry and pissed and frustrated, and I played something that I knew was telling me a truth, even though it felt too good to be true. And I made myself listen to something that filled my consciousness with goodness, and I didn't want to. But I knew I couldn't afford to just linger and indulge in despair. I knew I had to do something to reach for hope, even if it took everything in me, even if it felt clumsy, even if it felt like it wasn't doing anything. There was something inside of me fighting for me and saying it's worth it to connect back to hope. And so I don't know how you're feeling today. I don't know how you're feeling about the year. I don't know how you're feeling about your life. If you're soaring and on cloud nine, I love that. And join me in the celebration and join me in the gratitude. There's more than enough joy to go around here. But my prayer is truly that every single person would leave this mix connected to and feeling hope and a future. You don't have to be 100% of the way there, but please, please, please plug into hope. All it takes is hope. All it takes is another choice to keep going for another moment, another day, another moment, another day. All it takes, it has been said, is a tiny mustard seed of faith. And you can move mountains. Let's go into our finale songs. Family, we're plugging in hope and a future. You don't have to be 100%. You don't have to be 50%. But would you reach for it? Would you do what you know how to do to plug in today? And I am believing as this song plays, it's going to help you plug in, that God is going to do something in your heart that only God can do. Hope and a future.
When you try your best but you don't succeed, get what you want but not what you need. When you feel so tired but you can't sleep.
This song in particular is dedicated to the person who has felt stuck in reverse. And I want you to know that's changing right here and now. The narrative's changing right here and now. The energy is shifting right here and now. The story is being rewritten right here and now. Hope and a future. You know what's so beautiful and meaningful about this song is Chris Martin wrote it from the place of when your heart hurts for somebody and you wish you could do more, but it feels like there's nothing you can really do. And I think that's so vulnerable. I think that's so human. I think that's so profound, but I also have to be honest, family, that's not the position I'm coming from as I record today. I may not know your story. I may not know all the details of your life. I may not know how to fix everything, but I don't actually feel helpless as I share this with you. Because as the music shifts and transitions, I feel like when we reach our limit, when we reach the end of our rope, when we reach the end of what we know how to do, in comes love, and in comes grace, and in comes infinite possibility. And family, I feel like we get to plug into a God of infinite loving intelligence. So you're not limited, you're not trapped, you're not stuck. I don't feel helpless, I don't feel discouraged as I record at all today, because I feel like I get to invite you to plug into the love that holds this universe together, and to let that love heal you as only it can. You say, Stefan, do you really believe change is possible? Do you really believe somebody's life can change through a mix or a YouTube video? Do you really believe that something is actually shifting? Well, I just listen. And my answer to all of that is yes, 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 1,000,000 times yes. I felt led to tell somebody today, the shift is as real as you let it be. Everything can change right here, right now. Maybe everything is changing right here, right now. The shift is as real as you let it be. Let it be real. Let it be transformative.
I have often dreamed of a far-off place.
And family, we've got one more song left. The grand finale. For my emo kids out there, give me a 14. For my Disney kids out there, give me a 15. This is the grand finale, and this is for you. It's so cheesy, but it's so true, family. Every single mile will be worth your while. Nothing will be wasted in your story.
Down an unknown road to embrace my fate. Though the road may wander, it will lead me to you. And 1,000 years would be worth.
I want you to feel the lightness in your soul right now. The joy, the confidence, the expectation, the aliveness that you plugged back into today. Do you feel the way that you've left despair behind and crossed the line firmly into the territory of hope? I promise you good things are on the way. I promise you your future self will be so thankful you didn't give up. I promise you God wants to prosper you. I promise you you have 1,000,000 unseen reasons to have hope. And I promise you, family, you have a glorious future. You're leaving today ready to prosper. You're leaving today with hope. You're leaving the virtual dance floor knowing you have a glorious future. This is Rave Church. Wow, wow, wow. Whew. What a mix. I am feeling this energy, and I pray that you are too. I actually feel very confident that you are too. And what a perfect start to the year for all of us here at Rave Church. If you are still listening and have made it to this point in the video today, comment a 16 below, and thank you for joining us on the virtual dance floor as always. If this happens to be your first ever Rave Church mix and the first time that you've ever listened to one of these, please take a moment and comment the word new down below. Because I want to know that you are here, and I would love to personally welcome you to the community. I never take it for granted that somebody would click on one of these or give it a chance or spend some time with me in the midst of a busy day and a busy life. So whether you've been here for a while or you're brand new, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. As always, I'm also so appreciative to Bryan Neville, the DJ, artist, and producer based right here in LA that co-creates each and every one of these with me. Feel free to join me in the comments with a big thank you, Bryan, for always being part of these experiences that we get to create and share with you. And like you heard me say a few moments ago, the theme of hope and hope versus despair was just burning on my heart as I got ready and as I thought about making this mix for you. And it really is because I believe at the core that hope is the foundation for it all. Hope is the foundation for everything else. And you can do anything, have anything, go anywhere from there. From hope, we can get to vision, we can get to faith, we can get to purpose, we can get to dreams, we can get to destiny. Everything is possible from that place, but none of it is possible without hope. And I just felt so drawn to speak to that in a very direct and intentional way today, all throughout these beautiful songs. And so my prayer is that as you listened today, you crossed the line out of despair and left that behind in any area of your life where that might have been relevant. And that you will be going forward from this mix, fully connected to the knowing that God wants to prosper you, fully connected to hope, fully connected to the glorious future that indeed is in store for you. Now, as always, this mix was only made possible by my partners, and I will always take a moment to say thank you there. I will always take a moment to shout them out. We give all of this content to the world as a gift for anybody who resonates, for anyone who wants it, and all of that is made possible by an incredible and generous group of humans all over the world, spread out across over 7,000 to 8,000 miles, I believe it is at this point, who believe in this work and choose to support it. If you would like to learn more about becoming a partner and all that that entails, You can find more info, in fact, all the info that you could possibly need online at one website, lovegrovepartners.com. And specifically today in this video, and because this is brand new, I want to give a specific shout out to the brand new Discord that is now live and up and running for every member of this community. I don't know if you've used Discord before or not, and I don't know how you feel about the platform in general, but I want you to know that we have a space just for partners that we call, and I know this is cheesy, but I also love it, it is called the Partners Prospering Portal. And it is a space for us to connect. It is a space for us to inspire and encourage and pray for one another. It is a space that gives you the opportunity to plug into a loving narrative, a true narrative, an empowering narrative for your life anytime you need and anytime you want. And may I just say, among other things that are there is a channel, which is a Discord term for those unfamiliar. There is a channel there specifically dedicated to blessings. You may have heard me share before that in the ancient Hebrew prayer calendar, a typical person would speak out loud 100 blessings over themselves and their family and their loved ones in a single day. Now, that might as well be a foreign language to most of us, okay? And I'm not saying the average person is going to get to 100 these days, but does that not tell us something? Does that not give us a clue, family? Does that not give us something to consider? The power of life and the opposite of life, word that I'm not going to say because of the algorithm, but the power of both of those things is in your tongue. Your words have the power both to bless and to curse. I'm here to remind you for a moment before we wrap up that your words have the power both to create and to destroy. And so that is why I am intentional about my words with everything, including how I named the portal. And that is why there is a space there specifically dedicated to blessings. And so I just want you to know, those of you who have not yet become a partner, but you know that that time is coming and one day you will, just know there are over 50 blessings minimum at the time of this recording waiting for you in that space. They have already been written, they have already been shared, they have already been released, and they are there ready for you, spoken over you in advance across all time and space, ready for you to just step in and claim and receive. So all around, I cannot speak highly enough. I cannot celebrate enough how much I am enjoying this new space that, again, we call the Partners Prospering Portal. It is a spectacular, one-of-a-kind space that allows you to plug into goodness anytime you choose. I would love to have you there. And as one of my partners was just talking about and sharing on their social media the other day, it is the easiest thing ever to join and to be part of. It is the least restrictive, least exclusive membership club that you can imagine, because all you have to do to become a partner is to give one time of any amount to support this work. There is no minimum. There is no ongoing commitment required. All of the options are available for you at lovegrovepartners.com. And essentially, I'll just tell you in advance of checking the website, We accept basically any card, any account, even all the major forms of crypto for those of you in that world. And shout out, you know who you are, but one gift of any amount makes you a partner. That is all that is required to gain access to the community. One gift of any amount. Nothing is too large. Nothing is too small, except zero. Because this is your opportunity to support and give back to something that is blessing your life. Last thing, before I sign off today, and thank you for joining me here and prioritizing this experience and staying with me to the end. But last thing before I sign off today, I just want you to know this episode was so prayed over. Long before Bryan hit play on the music and I picked up the mic and we hit record, this episode was prayed over long before that. And so I trust with all of my heart that God spoke to you in an individualized, personalized, customized way, and you got exactly what you needed today. Please take a moment and hear this and breathe this in, because it is absolute truth. You are unconditionally loved. You are more supported and cared for than you can imagine. And you are so important to God. All things are possible for the one who believes. You are the one. You can be the one. You are meant to be the one. I will always be here with that message. And partners, I really am grateful beyond words for you. Grateful in a way that I can only do my best to try to express in language. Right before I recorded this, I took some time to pray for every single one of you by name. And it was a wonderful, invigorating, moving time in the presence of God. But partners, I can't say it enough. You are always in my thoughts and in my heart. And as your faces and smiles scroll by on my partner wall, you are thought about and prayed for always. One more time, I will give the invitation. If you are still listening to this episode and you haven't yet plugged in to all of the momentum and the growth happening here, we welcome you. There has never been a better time for you to become a partner. And so if that's you, please email me. Let me know that you're joining today. But for every single person who is making that decision, who is giving here for the very first time, I bless you into exceedingly, super abundantly, infinitely, and immeasurably more than you could ever ask, dream, think, or imagine. I promise you, God has some surprises in store, and God will outdo them all. We will be back here soon for yet another mix of Rave Church on the virtual dance floor. But in the meantime, keep moving forward in faith. I love you, I believe in you, and the best is yet to come.